Welcome to the 100th video in the Bassoon Digital Professor Series. I'm delighted to be here and celebrate this milestone with you. I prepared a special video that summarizes an important aspect of my pedagogy, and that aspect is motion in music. There are many writings on motion in music. Well known among musicians is David McGill's book, Sound in Motion. But McGill is not the only author to use the metaphor motion to describe music. Many contemporary musicians, music theorists, philosophers have also written on the subject. I've also made references to motion in music in several of my writings. References to motion in music extend well back to the counterpoint treatises in the Baroque period, if not even before. If you want to explore the subject of motion in music, I've prepared a bibliography for you that's available on www.toread.net/motion. So let's get started. So how does a performer add motion to music? And what do we mean by musical direction? Typically, we use three ways to show motion in music. These are dynamics, crescendo and diminuendos, varying the speed of the vibrato, and rubato, that is, slightly speeding up or slowing down the tempo. There are more ways to show motion, but those are the three we're going to deal with here in this video. Marcel Tabuteau spoke of the term drive. This is something that he coined, and a drive is a scaling of some aspect of music. It's a musical parameter. Here's an example of a drive using only dynamics. You set your metronome for a quarter note equals 60. Notice that this is a 5-count exercise. The first measure is 5 counts, so is the second, etc. I'm indebted to Norman Hertzberg for this idea. When you've mastered the 5-count exercise, add a beat to each measure. Keep adding beats to challenge yourself throughout the whole range of the instrument. You can also practice dynamic drives with articulation. There is such a great variety to the ways you could practice drives that you can entertain yourself for hours. Be creative. Now, let's take a brief passage from the first melodic study by Alberto Orefici to examine musical motion. Orefici is explicit in this passage about the location of the climaxes. The downbeat of measure 2 is a musical goal. The fourth beat of measure 4 on the appoggiatura is another musical goal. The last two goals are found in the downbeat of the first measure of the second line, and then the appoggiatura E3 in the third measure of that line. Now, you can practice musicality in several ways. Here's an example where I play a single tone, a monotone G4, and vary the vibrato and dynamics together. I will tap my foot so that you can hear the beats. I hope that you hear that I project motion forward in the music by means of a faster vibrato and louder dynamics. Conversely, motion away from a musical goal is broadcast by means of a release of tension, that is, slower vibrato and a decrescendo. When I play the monotone, I'm listening to the music in my mind. We call this audiation. Here's the monotone again, but this time I will point out the corresponding place in the music. Why is the monotone so important as a practice tool? Well, if you can't play musically on a single tone, you really aren't playing musically with many tones. The many tones are simply masking your inabilities. Here I'll play the monotone for you again, but this time I tongue the beats. Did you notice that I didn't restart my vibrato every time I tongued? It's a terrible habit to link your vibrato to your articulation patterns. Don't do it. The vibrato should operate separately. Now, you should practice varying the vibrato and the dynamics separately. In fact, you want to gain such control over both that you can vary the two independently at will. Sometimes you might want to increase the speed of the vibrato as you decrescendo, for instance. Here's a figure in which dynamics and vibrato are in opposition. Now, let's practice rubato, that is, the speeding up and slowing down of the tempo. I will tongue eighth notes so that you can hear the tempo changes. Notice that rubato needs tasteful application. You can't simply speed up or slow down. You need to project to the listener a natural path for the music to follow. It's a bit similar to a tame roller coaster ride. Smooth descents and ascents. Nothing jerks the roller coaster, rather accelerations and decelerations happen according to gravity. The arc of the musical lines are also much like throwing a baseball. If you see the start of the baseball leaving someone's hands and momentarily blink, you will still know where the ball will end up. Similarly, you need to perform rubato in much the same way, so that your musical goals seem inevitable. There needs to be a natural result to your musical line. Now, it doesn't seem intuitive that in order to play musically, you need to be even more exacting and calculating. But when I play musically, I subdivide very carefully in my mind. I'm not hearing numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead, I hear sort of pulses or beats, much like you heard me with the tonguing pattern. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that musicality just happens spontaneously. Just as technique needs to be practiced, so too musicality needs to be rehearsed. God willing, I hope that I can continue with another 100 videos in this series. I have so many ideas I want to share with you, but just not enough time to produce the videos and the materials. Well, to close out this video, here is a performance of the first two lines of the Orefici Melodic Study No. 1. God bless you. Bye.